that something has to trigger it. So what was I doing?
No. There was nothing that we could have done. It was going to happen
No,
no matter what.
No. She said I must have done something to trigger it because
didn't.
I am
You
not the
didn't.
same person, Mom.
You didn't.
I
You
am
are
not
the
the
same.
same. Would you please just stop lying to me?
Okay, Carly,
The new film Touched with Fire shines a spotlight on some of the tragedy and triumphs of being bipolar. The movie was inspired by director Paul Dalio's struggles with being bipolar. Joins us to talk about this critically acclaimed film opening this weekend in our area. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
I read that you're sort of taken back by the fact that people are so positive about this movie that is so dark.
Well, you know, to have sane people be able to see through insane people's eyes and enjoy it and empathize with it's a beautiful thing to me.
You wrote the screenplay, directed the film. Basically, it's a story about two people who meet and fall in love. That can be tricky enough. But then you add the fact that both of the characters are bipolar. The two lead roles played by Katie Holmes and Luke Kirby. When they signed on to do the movie, I mean, this is your first film, right? And
Yes.
your first feature film. And you got these great actors to play. What was going through your mind when you heard that they were on board?
I was thrilled. I was excited because I've never worked with actors at that level.
Yeah.
You know, but I did a lot of intense studying about act. I took an acting course. I read Stanislavski and, you know, Stella Adler and all that. So I was like really researching intensely the language of acting, and you know, and I had a lot of resource into the characters, and I really intensely studied the backstory, so I was eager to get into it with them, to go deep with them, and they're just extraordinary actors, so they really went far with it.
Yeah, really far. I mean, when you watch the movie, you can tell. You've said that being bipolar is like a fire that's out of control, that there are high highs and low lows. How difficult, I mean, you felt it. How hard was it to make sure that the actors who are not bipolar could really convey and convince the audience that that's how they feel?
Well, the main thing was having them be themselves and not playing crazy from the outside. And the great thing about it is they have an enormous emotional range. And bipolar is in a state of emotional extremes, and they have incredible imagination. So once they were able to understand who their characters were before bipolar, then they were able to understand what it's like to be bipolar. And I would give them, you know, bipolar paintings from bipolar painters, poems from bipolar poets, music from bipolar musicians. I would describe viscerally what the experience is like.
So you tried every sense basically to try to get them to feel exactly how it is.
Saturate with them what it's like. And because their imagination is so vivid, their imagination was able to make the leap to the outer brink of their emotions right on the edge of insanity.
There was an interview that Luke Kirby did, and he said it was so tough on the set filming all of it that there were days where he really thought he was losing his mind, and he was even having trouble sleeping. So these characters really get into the movie.
Yeah, there was days I was worried he was losing his mind, that maybe I'd be triggering something, you know?
Mental illness, obviously a huge problem. How big of a problem do you think it is? What do you think needs to be done?
I think the biggest thing is we need to be able to see through their eyes, and we need to be able to see the beauty through their eyes, because right now all of us are looking at them through the lens of some clinical book with some really unappealing term, you know, dialogue of bipolar, manic depressive. So when we look through that lens of these people, we see a disorder, we see a crippled person. We don't see the beauty that came from these people, because it's a truthful beauty. You know, 38% of Pulitzer winning prizes were dedicated to people, were done by people who were bipolar. So that's over 1/3 of the contribution to the human spirit. You know, if you don't see these people for who they are, they're gonna, you know, hide in the shadows in shame. And you're not going to be able to treat them the way they should. And the beautiful thing about film, the reason why we have film and art, is to break down barriers and to be able to kill stigma and to be able to have someone see through another person's eyes, you know? You know, for people to be able to experience love, the most universal emotion, through the hearts of a condition that's defined by emotional extremes. And when those emotional extremes take the form of a love that breaks outside the boundaries of sanity and blazes way brighter than any label. You know, it's a beautiful love story, and that's it.
Definitely something to see. Well, thank you so much for stopping by. We appreciate it. Look forward to seeing the film. Touched with Fire is in theaters starting Friday. You can find a link to the film on our website, fox4news.com.